Secretly recorded from deep inside the bowels of a decommissioned missile silo, we bring you the man, one single man who wants to bring light to the darkness and dark to the lightness. Although he's not always right, he is always certain. So now, with security protocols in place, the protesters have been forced back behind the barricades and the blast doors are now sealed. Without further delay, let me introduce you to the host of Hutcast, Mr. Tim Hutner.
Thank you, Sergeant-at-Arms. You can now take your post.
All right, guys. Tonight on Hutcast, two conversations. One, FEMA coming in to take the place of the nurses and doctors who won't take the jab. Well, this ought to be interesting. And I pulled some video off the internet to find out, okay, what do some people know? This gal's going to be out there. She told us her story. Well, she's telling everybody her story, and I just grabbed it. But if you can get through the him-ha's, ahs, and the sort ofs, and you kind of take it through with her messiness, you'll get through and get the gist of the information. Next, we're going to talk about GAN, Generative Adversarial Network. Now, this is a thing called This Person Does Not Exist. And you're going to find it pretty interesting what this software technology can do. Stand by, Hutcast. We'll be back momentarily to dig into these conversations.
In today's busy world, staying healthy and alert have become essential for those of us who want to get the most out of ourselves. So before you reach for that energy drink, ask yourself, are you really giving your body the best? If you want the energy without the jitters that commonly come from today's most popular energy drinks, then reach for something better. Reach for Super Fuel. Super Fuel is made by Casmo Incorporated. Super Fuel is a healthy boost. Super Fuel is made with vitamins B6, B12, and taurine, that is a amino acid that aids in weight loss and protects heart tissue. Beetroot powder and other healthy ingredients that will give you a quick, healthy boost. Make Super Fuel a great tasting, low-calorie addition to your daily regimen. Super Fuel by Casmo Incorporated. It can be ordered by visiting our website at www.superfuel.me or calling 833-383-5912. That's right, Super Fuel by Casmo Incorporated at www.superfuel.me or calling 833-383-5912. Super Fuel.
All right, guys, let me start out with the nurses, the FEMA nurses. Okay, so in my intro, I told you guys about the situation that this gal had gone to her doctor to visit a friend and ran into a busload of FEMA nurses, doctors / whatever that is. Unique perspective because she engaged these people and asked them questions. Good for her, good for all of us. But, you know, she makes a good point. Stand by here. I'm gonna cue up this audio and we're gonna push this out there, and then we're gonna have a conversation about it after.
Yesterday, as many of you know, our dear friend Michael, he had a diabetic episode. He's being treated. So I went to Medical City McKinney, and I'm saying that for a reason, to visit our friend. And we noticed a charter bus, huge charter bus, outside of the hospital. And so Carmen and I decide, and Jesse, my husband, decide we're going to go. There's a lady standing outside of the charter bus, and we're going to go and find out what's going on. Why there's a charter bus right outside of the main emergency part of the hospital. And we began talking to this lady. She was a nurse. She had scrubs on. She had a mask and all that. And I said, "Hey, how's it going? You know, what's going on? Like, your charter bus? What's all this about?" She said, oh, well, I'm from Wisconsin, and we're being bussed in. And I said, what do you mean you're being bussed in? She says, well, you know, there's a shortage of doctors and nurses. They're all leaving. I said, oh, okay, well, why do you think they're leaving? And then I also said, and why do they need to bus you in? I mean, they still have nurses and doctors here. She said, well, no, because of the COVID surge. I said, okay. So I said, how many beds are available for the COVID patients here? Because last year they were saying things like, and I'm going to just rabbit trail for a second. Last year they would say things like the beds are full, but they were only dedicating 15% of hospital beds, all hospital beds, to COVID. Only 15%. So when they say they're all full, that could mean 20 beds, whatever it was according to the hospital's capacity, right? So 15%. So that's what I was trying to understand from this nurse as well, is how many beds are dedicated to COVID patients. She said, well, I don't know. I don't have that information. I said, okay. And then I said, and why would there, I said, I thought most people are vaccinated, right? She was like, yeah, I mean, most people are vaccinated, but I mean, and I said, okay, so if they're all vaccinated, why is there a COVID surge? And she started to step back a little bit. I said, that's okay. She's like, she said, I can't say, is what she said. And then I said, well, okay, back to the nurses and the doctors. I said, do you think that these nurses and doctors are leaving because they're being required to get a vaccine or lose their job? And she goes, well, I don't know, but I do know that all these doctors and nurses are leaving. I said, well, are the hospitals requiring their employees to get vaccinated or, leave? She said, yes, all of the hospitals are requiring their employees, their nurses and doctors, to be vaccinated. I said, so where are you from? I mean, what hospital are you from? And she says, no, I'm with Fema. Okay, guys, did you hear that? Disaster relief responders, nurses. I said, you're with Fema? She said, yeah, all of the nurses that are on this charter bus, everybody from this charter bus, they're from Fema. I said, oh, okay. I said, who's the head of Fema? I'm playing dumb because I just want to get as much information as I can, because this is very, we had heard conspiracies, or maybe we'd heard things last year that FEMA could, become our, get into the hospitals or whatever. So again, I asked the question. So now I'm really, wanting something. So I said, hey, so is FEMA requiring you guys to be vaccinated? All the nurses and doctors from FEMA. She goes, oh, no, it's a choice. I said, I'm sorry, I'm confused. I said, you're going to do the same job in the same building with the same patients, treating the same illness as the doctors and the nurses who just were employed at this hospital and left because they were being required by their employer to be vaccinated. You're telling me that you're taking, FEMA nurses and doctors are taking these people's jobs, and FEMA is not required to take it. I said, I don't understand. What is going on? Okay, so now I really want to make it clear, you guys. I'm just going to say it. The Obama administration, back in 2008, created what? A socialized healthcare system, Obamacare. We are now seeing the effects of it. When FEMA comes in, which is a governmental program, they've defunded our hospitals with the doctors and the nurses, requiring them. Those hospitals have literally decided their employees need to get vaxxed or they can leave. But it's not about that. It has nothing to do with that. This is a government takeover of our hospital. And if we don't stop this, you guys, you know what's going to happen? Exactly. The police, the defunding the police, all of the Democratic policies that we really don't want, even really the Democrats don't want. This is very concerning. Like I said before, I don't get fearful. I do get disturbed, though. This was very disturbing to have this conversation with this nurse from Fema telling me that she is not required to get a vaccine, but she's going to work in the same building, doing the same job, treating the same illness, treating the same patients. And all of our good doctors and nurses around us in our communities are no longer fit for the job because they're not getting vaccinated. What the hell kind of double standard is this? It's not. Again, it's not even about it. And we knew this. We knew it wasn't about this. We were kind of like, what's going on, right? And we could put the pieces in the places and say, yes, this is happening, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But we didn't put the piece together that it is socialized medicine that is taking over our hospitals. What are we going to do about this, guys? We need to band together, you guys. I mean, we are fighting as hard as we can on every single front. And thank you, freedom fighters, for doing everything you can. This FEMA worker, again, she was nice. I mean, she's a person, obviously, from Wisconsin. Spends about a week here in McKinney, and then she will fly out, and they rotate, and they go to different hospitals around our communities. Again, this is serious, you guys. So if they defund our police, if they get their way with the hospitals, they're going to keep going, right? Because that's what they always do. It was 14 days. I'll just quote Reagan here. Anytime the government says, or a federal agency says, we're doing something temporarily, it's the closest thing to eternity that you can get on the planet. Nothing is ever temporary with the government's oversight or their regulations or their mandates. It's lockstepping us. They are lockstepping it, meaning they give us a mandate, and then once our freedoms are taken, they loosen up the reins. And then they do another mandate that takes away more freedoms, but they keep the other mandate in place. So they added two and still take freedoms, and then they loosen up again. And then they're going to keep the two mandates and then add another one. And once the restrictions are all in place, you guys, once everybody complies, because apparently there's a lot of people complying. I was very confident, I will say this, I was very confident before having this conversation with this FEMA worker that we're winning. And I don't want to spread doom and gloom because I don't know what's going to happen. But all I got to tell you is we have to fight hard. We are not going to let them turn us into Venezuela or Australia. That's the closest to my heart right now. I have friends over there. Patriots, just get ready.
Okay. How'd you like that? How can you even imagine in today's world the kind of dual standards that the FEMA organization, and again, I don't want to get too political, but the Obama administration, the Biden administration, and all these people who are out there to delete current nursing staff, current doctor staff because they won't take the jab. And yet, they have no issues sending in Fema, which is government-based. I get it. I mean, it's a federal deal. Who's going to come in and say, well, we're going to help you because this company fired their employees, but they have no one to help anybody. I don't know about you guys, but, when I listen to these memes about Forrest Gump, and he says this, I'm not a smart man, but I know that if you fire employees, it can't be good. I can't begin to think of how stupid this sounds. So here we are, 2021. This thing was come out on 10/15. Today is 10/17. And these people are having this conversation about this? Can this even be a conversation? So first of all, we had a previous conversation about a nursing home. Now, just a heads up, an update on that. The nursing home has tried to, for religious beliefs, tell everybody that it has to be proven for religious beliefs. Well, hold on now. Now, if I'm a religious belief person, and there's no proof of God, but yet there is a God, and if they're going to say, well, you can't have an exemption because of religious reasons, well, how do you know there's not a God? So does that make them agnostic? I don't know. I mean, this is like a really slippery slope for these people. And personally, I can't wait for all the attorneys to start sinking in on this. Once these attorneys start getting their fingers in this, and this is the, a sad part of it about legals, is it takes a lawyer to defend a lawyer, so they perpetuate on themselves. Okay, where was I going? Yes. So this company, these doctors, these people, you won't take the jab, you're going to get nicked. They're taking you off the payroll. You can't collect unemployment because you didn't follow through with your jobs. But yet when the jobs was started, they didn't have you will do this or you will be deleted. So now I'm assuming that somebody from the, I don't know, WOSHA, Health and Human Services, whoever that person is, whatever that agency is going to say, well, you didn't have this in your contract when you started, so we're just going to throw it in there and then you're going to follow through, or we're going to nick you. Nope. I don't even see where this is even an issue. So again, back to this gal. She sees this. She talks to these people, and again, I say, great for her. She's talking to these guys about what they are. This girl comes in from Wisconsin, and I haven't chased down where this hospital is or this gal where she went into. And, you heard her. I'm just playing dumb to try and get some information on these people. Well, I don't know how much information they give the staff, but hospitals, FEMA, all the big shots do not divulge any information to the workers, to the staff. It doesn't happen. You go here, you do this, you do your job, and when you're done, we'll pull you out. Incredible stuff. Now, she's on the right fight. She wants to say, okay, we got to band together. I get that. Every revolution starts with a who takes the first shot. Now, I've had discussions with this about people many, many times in the past. Who is willing to take that first shot? And I do believe that the Bundy Ranch out in, is it Wyoming? Colorado? Wyoming, I believe. Montana. Not El Bundy, like on TV, but the Bundy Ranch. And I hear his son or his grandson is running for state rep, and I hope he gets it. Now, one of the Bundys was actually killed in a roadside shooting. Now, if you followed that situation, he wasn't going to comply with the BLM, the Land Management Group. They said it was his. Government said it's theirs. You have a 100-year lease, but you can't lease it, and we're going to tell you what to do. And this Bundy guy says, no, we ain't doing it this way. It's been in their family for generations, and government overreach grabbed it. They set up a gauntlet for this guy. They if you watch the video, they sniped him from in the woods with his family and everybody in the car. Okay. I don't know if that works either, but again, government overreach. So here's government overreach on this COVID-19 shot. It gets out there to where these people think that you will comply or we'll replace you with someone who won't comply, and they can have exemption because they work for us. Again, people, 1939 Germany, Nazi Germany, I'm hearing it all over. Papers, please. Show me your papers. No. All right, so this gal goes to talk about how the administrations had issues with socialized medicine It was very difficult for me when they started doing that Obamacare because a socialized medicine deal, it's a lot of work. And if it was really working, the Canadians wouldn't come down to Minnesota here and have a system where they can get in. They said, and I quote from a doctor from Canada, he says there will always be two forms of medicine in the United States. You'll have the private sector and then you'll have the government sector. The private sector is you'll get in and get done in the time you need so you don't die or whatever that ailment is killing you or hurting you, where in Canada, you have to go to the front of the line if you got a life injury event right now. Otherwise, if you got something that's just very, very uncomfortable, you're in queue. The queue keeps moving. It's a moving target for you. The queue says, oh, a guy with a heart attack got in front of you, so therefore you don't need your bypass. Whatever that is, it's just an analogy. So this doctor was very specific on having a dual method, a dual type of healthcare system, and I believe he's right. We used to work on his car, great guy. His family was down here for, I don't know, they call it a training, one of the hospitals local here, but again, really, really good guy. Now, this girl is at this doctor's, this hospital, and she's snooping around. If you listen to her, she had people in her party who was also snooping around so they can come back and collect data. Okay? What are we going to do with it? You listened to it. What did you guys think? Back to the situation, who takes the first shot? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to incite a riot here, but, the Second Amendment wasn't about hunting. So if you guys pay attention to this, 2A'ers, this is not a let's go hunting for ducks or whatever you want to do. It's also hunting for your freedoms. So I think she's on page with that, too. Tell me what you think. Again, I want to shout out to the guys in Madagascar for pushing me through the 10,000 mark in their territory. Thank you very much for all the downloads. I appreciate it. Also want to thank to the South African guys. Them have been an awesome, awesome place. The Austrian guys, again, you did it. We'll have Mrs. M back on the show. I'm trying to get her in, trying to answer that question for you. Yes, she's very very decisive, and what a firecracker she is. Can't wait for the next event. All right, guys, this kind of wraps up about 8 minutes of my time on this, but the episode was about 10, so it's going to land us about 35 minutes. I don't want to overstep it. Hit us on Facebook. Tell me what you think of the gal who totally called the shot on this one, and again, my hat's off to her. She did it, and we could learn something from this. So stand by, word from our sponsors, and we'll jump into this NEC stuff.
Are you looking for a home or business security system you can trust? We are Pro-Tech Security Systems. We like to say we've been keeping honest people honest and the dishonest something to think about for over 20 years. We offer a variety of services from home to business security, to home theater, access control, and more. Call us for your complimentary consultation on a system that fits your specific needs. Call our office in Osseo, 763-493-2020. Mention you heard this on Hudcast and you will get $50 off your next purchase. We are Pro-Tech Security.
All right, we're back with Hudcast. Here's the gig. As an audio engineer, you can make anybody sound like anybody you want to. It's nothing new. This is something that happens on a regular basis. I've always had people come into the studio, and they all think they can sing until you put a mic in front of them, and then they can't sing. So now it's your job to make sure they can sing. I've done it 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. The rare talent comes in, and they knock this out, and you're done. I mean, it's a done thing. But today we're going to talk about NEC. Well, if you're a 60 Minutes fan, and I kind of am because you can kind of get some video from them guys, get some ideas for shows, they had a thing called Deep Fakes. Look up this video. It is season 54, which I can't believe. I'm not even, that's like forever. Season 54, episode 4. And just watch the part of that. These guys are doing it in the AI format versus us doing it in the WAV format. In a studio, we work in WAV, MP3, MP4s, AI ones, whatever the file format is, whatever your computer does. That's how you work on it. You're listening to my recording right now in a WAV file, which is a Microsoft-based. Now, the AI thing is all next-level stuff. So, for instance, Biden, he plans his pandemic, and he wants you to hear stuff, and people are constantly putting AI software out there to step on his voice and his face and his whatever this software does. I believe that he's been targeted by some of this software. The target of this software was to make him sound like an idiot or a non-compliant or an nincompoop or whatever you guys want to label him as, to make him fit that agenda of what you want to, the antonym of what you want him to do. So let's say, what's he like? I like hairy legs. Well, that I actually think he said. And the other one where kids like to sit on my lap. I don't know. I'm just shaking my head on that one still. I'm hoping some sick bastard out there didn't put that out there just to make him look that stupid. I'd rather hope that he's just that stupid by himself. Now, this software, this NEC software, the deep fake, it's so real that the U.S. government is quite upset with this. So if you watch the video, Tom Cruise is the victim, the guy, the person that they picked on. Now, they have a Tom Cruise impersonator, so you get the way he operates, he talks, he moves his hands, his gestures. But the face is actually Tom Cruise. So no matter what, it appears to be Tom Cruise. You think it's Tom Cruise, but it really isn't. Now, here's why I'm bringing this up. We've had an election here, and we've had a very strange election. I would say that some of the information on this election wasn't exactly what it should have been, but this is our election, and good, bad, or different, win or lose, this is what we got. This AI software can come into play on anything, on anybody, to just put them in a spot. So let's say, for instance, you get your news off of a Hatebook, or you go to Twitter, or whatever it is you get, and someone makes a file, someone makes a video of the next candidate or the previous candidate to do things or say things that just he never said. How are you going to believe that? I personally can't stand watching the news because I can't believe anything about it. I can't believe that everything is this down and nasty and crappy to begin with the whole time. AI software, the deep fakes, the NEC equipment. It's quite a deal. So follow along on that one. I'll tell you what, it's quite a thing. If someone was to say something like Trump, and Trump said something, and again, as an audio engineer, we can make anybody sound like anything, anytime. Once you have that algorithm in your computer, and you can simply type in a text version of this, and it'll start to sound like that. You used to have the software, don't have it anymore, really didn't need it. I just get on the mic and talk myself, but if I wanted to make Trump say something, or make Biden say something, or Pelosi, or whoever you want to make something say, that's how you do it. And again, we use a WAV format. It can be converted to MP3s. And if you've seen what we work with, it's very like, wow. Now, what you don't get is you don't get a smooth transition between, like I'm talking to you. You get that very easy to put two sentences together, two words, to freely flow, where with the AI stuff or with our stuff in the past, it was a little more choppy. And you could hear that. So when Biden said something on film once, and you could just hear the soundtrack sounded weird, sounded odd. And he come through with I'd like to, and all of a sudden the tone changes, the pitch changes, the speed and rate of which it changes says something different for just a second, and then it comes back down to the normal deal. Well, again, if you don't play with audio and you don't cut files all day, I'll tell you what, that's a thing that you missing. You might think you heard it, well, and then all of a sudden what happens? Oh, the pages go nuts, the people go nuts. Never waste a good crisis. Let's stir stuff up. I don't know. I do think that this software is quite spooky, and I can only imagine what kind of servers it takes to run this, because it's very top end shelf, and again, it's very beta at this point. So again, 60 Minutes, season 54, episode 4. Watch that. And just assume for just a second what you're hearing isn't what you're hearing or what someone else is doing. So if they put their face on somebody and they're dressed like the guy and they mannerisms like the guy, you ain't gonna know the difference. There's no way. Hutcast would love to have some of this software because then I could make people sell kinds of stuff, but I do believe it's under a lock and key somewhere, and it should be. So, again, I've been saying so a lot. I'm going to try and cut some of them out. We're going to have a word from our sponsor here. We're going to cut it short. It's just kind of a short night, and we're about 8-9 minutes into this second segment. AI software. It's unbelievable. For Hutcast, thanks again. And again, for those countries listening out there, we very much appreciate your support. So, farewell, guys.
And that's a wrap for Hutcast. Hutcast is, again, a pragmatic approach to seeing things how some people see them. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up on the Facebook site. Again, for Hutcast, thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.